Hello and welcome back to the Spotlight. I thought I'd do another video again today after the disaster and humiliation at home against Bournemouth, where the team again have just let everyone down, themselves down, the fans down, the manager down. I mean, the manager's letting everyone down as well. I don't even know where to start on this one. So we're going to go straight into, again, the problems with starting Luke Shaw at centre back when you've got Johnny Evans, who's a centre back on the bench, and you've got Raphael Varane, who is one of the world's best centre backs. And I will carry on saying that till I'm blue at the teeth. He is one of the world's best centre backs, sat on the bench because he's had a tiff with the manager. And we're playing a left back at centre back, and we're all over the place. I don't get it. The midfield is pathetic. Amrabat is bang average, as I've told everyone in previous videos. He's another basic, average midfielder who wouldn't have been playing at 27 years old at Fiorentina if he was anywhere near good enough to play for a top team. I'm sick of saying it. I'm sick of saying people saying he'll come good and all this useless chat. He's a boggo, basic, average midfielder, the same as Scott McTominay is. McTominay, again, 2 goals in the week, whatever he scored, missing, gone completely. And again, I think part of that is the way Ten Hag wants him to play, because at the moment, he's the only person who can score goals for us. So he's clearly been told to get too far forward and he's unable to recover back to his actual midfield position. So, one, he's not good enough, and two, I think he's been asked to do too much by the manager. And Bruno, again, our captain, our best player, missing. Again, crap, rubbish. He's got the people, I've heard people saying it's like Maguire and Shaw's fault for the first goal. It isn't. It's Bruno's fault. What is that pass he makes? I've just watched the highlights again a minute ago. What is that pass that he makes for the first goal? From down near our own corner flag, he plays an absolute hospital pass to McTominay, who gets intercepted, and from there they've turned us around on the score. That's on Bruno, that. You don't understand this unless you play football. That you're all moving out because you think the ball's coming out. It's a horrific pass that they intercept at pace, and you've got to turn and run back towards your own goal. It don't matter how quick you are, in those situations, you won't recover. I mean, while we're on Bruno, again, booked purposely, some people are saying. I don't know, really. He's mouthing off again. He's the captain of the team. Again, our so-called best player isn't. He's been booked coming into the biggest game that we've got. Probably, maybe a game that will get Ten Hag sacked if we get smacked up against Liverpool. And he's gone and got himself booked petulantly again for mouthing off. I mean, I'll say it here and I'll say it again. Ten Hag and everybody wanted Maguire to not be captain, including myself, right? It's gone to Bruno, who I never thought should have been captain, and we're a worse side. He's petulant, he moans, he runs around like a headless chicken. He's got no control of that team on the pitch whatsoever. And people say, well, the manager should have control of it. No. The manager puts the team out there to play in a certain way, but if on the pitch it isn't working, sometimes the captain has got to take responsibility. And if you listen to captains like Roy Keane, Gerrard, the real captains of the Premier League era, people like John Terry, sometimes they take things into their own mind and they think this isn't working, and they're on the pitch to do something about it. He does nothing about it. All he does is when things go wrong, he starts running around all over the pitch, giving the ball away, giving fouls away, mouthing off at everyone. He's not a captain. I don't. He just isn't. Go and people say, who else can be captain? I think anyone. who's less petulant than him. Because there's a difference between moaning at refs and getting on people's back and shouting and screaming about that benefits your team. Proper captains do that. He's like a little spoilt child at Christmas who didn't get the Christmas present they wanted. Pathetic. Honestly, pathetic. My mate sent me a message this morning. We're talking about the team, and I said, anyone who's been there who's not a youth player for over 3 years should be put up for sale. The only people we should be keeping is Hoyland, Garnacho, maybe Hannibal, Mainu, that type. Everyone else should be put on the chopping block, in my opinion. I mean, I don't even know who else would say we'd keep. I think Rashford's pathetic. You all know about my stance on Rashford on here. He's crap. I'll straight up say it. The guy is not very good. He's a Poundland Jamie Vardy. But I want to get back to the Bournemouth game anyway, because I want to just talk about the goals. I've talked about the first one, absolute hospital pass by Bruno Fernandes. The second one is played into Scott McTominay's feet and he tries to lay it off, and it's an absolutely shocking pass. And again, we're turned round on the transition super quick. They hit the post from McTominay losing the ball in midfield. The third goal is a basic corner, which we can't do. We can't put a decent cross in to save our lives, either in-game or from a set piece. They score a basic corner. I don't even know who was supposed to be marking him. It was a free header goal. They scored the fourth one, which was disallowed for handball. Amrabat is running back to his own goal. Like, where is he going? Just kick it out for a throw-in if you're under that much pressure. Or he could have played a pass all the way back to Onana way earlier. And he runs 20, 30 yards backwards, plays it into Maguire, who takes a poor touch and he's caught on the ball and they scored. It should have never been disallowed. How is that goal getting disallowed? It's ridiculous. They hit the post, like I said. I mean, we were absolutely battered by Bournemouth. And again, it comes down to a bit like the Newcastle game where people will say we've got better players. I don't think we actually have got better players. We've maybe got 1 or 2 or 3 better players. The rest of the squad ain't good enough. And the difference is Newcastle and Bournemouth and every other team we play go out there with a solid understanding and plan of what they're doing. Some people are saying this like from Wednesday night against Chelsea. Oh yeah, I can see what Ten Hag's supposed to be doing and all this lot. Wednesday night was a complete outlier of a game. Against Chelsea, it were also crap. They're worse than us. They're probably lower than Bournemouth and half the teams we've lost to anyway. They're wide open. They're the exact kind of team that suit us. They're lazy and wide open. I said it to all my mates coming into this game that we'll be back to normal on Saturday because we'll come up against a team with a proper structure and who are well drilled and work hard. And what's happened? We've been absolutely smashed. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it, really. That I can't. The two things I'll say is do not get carried away when Man United win. Wednesday night against Chelsea, Chelsea should have scored 3 or 4 goals in that first half. How many 3-on-2s, 4-on-2s did they have? And Mudryk put one wide. He made a horrendous pass for another. You know, we got away with Wednesday. And we was all right in the second half and Chelsea were very poor. But again, we've come around to an absolute pathetic bunch of players and manager as well. I mean, we're not starting Mainu, Amrabat and McTominay in midfield. They're both not mobile. Amrabat's okay on the ball, but basic. And McTominay's clearly told to go and join in up front. So he's out of position all the time. I just wish we'd just play 2 sitting defenders now. And I used to not want this to happen because you think, why are you playing 2 sitters versus crap? But we need to. I would I cannot wait till we get Casemiro back and we can hopefully play Casemiro, Mainu. I mean, tell me in the comments, what are your thoughts on Bruno getting booked? Do you think he did it on purpose? Do you think he's just petulant? Or do you think he's absolutely scapegoated, getting an absolute spanking away at Anfield next week or midweek, whenever it is? Because that game is going to be a car crash. Big time. I mean, I've got some stats up here. Let's just have a look at them quickly. So, I mean, we had 69% possession. 69% possession, and we've got beat 3-0, and it could have been 4 or 5 easily. It's absolutely insane. Because all our possession is between the back four, because the midfield, there's no out ball for anybody. So Bournemouth just literally pressed our back four and did not let us out, and we're just passing it across the back constantly. But I mean, look, like passing accuracy 85%. I mean, it looks good on paper, but really it's probably Luke Shaw to Onana, Luke Shaw to Maguire. You know what I mean? It's going nowhere. It's absolutely pathetic. Crossing accuracy, look, 18%. I mean, how did we have 27 crosses? They probably all came in the last 5 minutes when we're already 3-0 down. And why on earth is Eric Ten Hag bringing Johnny Evans on when we're 2-3-0 down? Do you think he's trying to save absolute humiliation? Because if we get battered by 4 or 5 at Bournemouth and go away to Liverpool and it's 5, he's shitting himself over his job. I think that's probably the reason. He was trying not to get an absolute hiding because he knows the next... Who have we got in the next couple of games? I know I've had it up before. We got the Liverpool and maybe West Ham. West Ham are sneakily doing okay this season. They had a bit of a poor start, but they're moving up the league. Let me just have a quick look at the fixtures while I've got you all on here. And you can look at the stats there. I'll put the attacking stats on. So 3-0, 20 shots we had, 3 on target. I mean, what's going on there? 12 of them blocked. Probably, I mean, it looks good, 20 shots and 12 blocks. Like, we've done a lot. We haven't. We've probably been shooting from stupid places, like always, from the edge of the area when there's a player stood in front of you. And they'll be like, oh, it's great blocks by Bournemouth. But you don't see teams like City just shooting willy-nilly and hoping it goes in. If there's a player stood in front of them, they won't shoot. They'll pass it 5 yards, create an opening. We just either shoot from 30 yards out and it misses, or we get close to the area and shoot and basically shoot it at people. It's unbelievable, really. Absolutely insane. I mean, discipline. Again, Bruno booked. So we've got the fixtures up here. Let's have a look. We've got Bayern on Tuesday. We've got Liverpool, then West Ham, then Villa. So you could easily see us losing 4 games in a row there. Bayern at home, who I think will want to come to Old Trafford and win. People say they'll put out a half-baked team because they're already through. I think they'll want to prove a point. Liverpool away, they're going to see us as a sinking ship and want to destroy it. West Ham, like I say, they're on a decent little bit of form. West Ham are 9th with 24 points. So they've got a game in hand, actually, which they'll be playing today. And if they win it, they'll be on the same points as us. So let's not write West Ham off as an easy one. West Ham, if they win today, are on the same points we are. Villa, we all know about Villa. What are the second or point? Beat Arsenal yesterday. Look, absolutely unbelievable against Emery. With Emery. Again, you'd say he's not been there, 18 months or something, the same time Ten Hag's been there, roughly. You would argue that they haven't got as good players as we have. And look at the difference in Villa. They're unbelievable. Absolutely unreal. The difference in transition between Villa and us is insane. And we've spent more money We've so-called got better players. If you want to do a comparison of Ten Hag and a manager, do one of him and Emery, because it's an absolute joke. Then we've got Forest, who I think Forest are on a bit of a bad run at the moment, so you'd hope we could win there on New Year's Eve, I think it is, or the day before New Year's Eve. Then the first game in January is Tottenham. So out the next 4 or 5 games, you could probably say Forest is the one you've got to look at where we'll get a result. It's not looking good at all for Ten Hag and Man United. And just on Ten Hag, just before I leave, do I want him sacked? No. The reason why is I think we need to clear some of these players out first. Even if Ten Hag gets sacked, I'll say that he's done a good job if he can get rid of some of these players that have been here for 5+ years who are hanging about, hovering over the team, doing the same things they do all the time. And in that, I include Rashford, Shaw, Maguire, McTominay, Bruno, Martial. I mean, and all the normal names, but I even include all those so-called big players. And if he can clear some of those big players out, and even if he gets the sack down the line and we become better, we can say the building blocks come from Ten Hag clearing out the dead wood from the last 10 years, because people rave on about Luke Shaw, and Luke Shaw is a good player on his day, but he's been here 10 years nearly. How many consistent full seasons has he had where he's been good all year or not been injured? I would say 1 or 2. And it's the same with Rashford. They're not good enough. And we say they are because they're some of our so-called best players at the club. But Shaw, Rashford, Bruno, our top players, or the so-called top players that the fans think, would not get in any other top 6 team. Especially Bruno and Rashford. Shaw might slip in at left back in one of them when he's fit. But Bruno, the way Villa are playing, Arsenal are playing, City, he maybe would play for Spurs. But the way them lot play, he doesn't suit them. Possession-based, high-press football, he ain't got it. He's technically not good enough on the ball for short passing. Bruno. Rashford, he's an in-behind striker, in-behind left winger. We've seen it for Man United for ages now. Unless he's got loads of space in behind to run into, he's basically non-existent. And he won't work in Arsenal, City, and that lot. 1, he don't work hard enough. 2, he can't play possession football. But looking ahead at them games, I mean, what do you think about the Bayern game? I can't see us beating Bayern. It could be another crazy Champions League night where there's a load of goals, or it could be a hammering. Liverpool, I think we are going to get convincingly beaten, probably by at least 3. West Ham, I think we're usually okay against West Ham. We might scrape a win versus West Ham, but if we do, it'll be by a goal. Forest, again, they're another team like Bournemouth and Luton and that lot, aren't they? So you'd expect us to win by the odd goal. Villa, I don't know. Sometimes Villa are wide open. The only thing we've got going for us against Villa is if we do stick Rashford and Højlund up front, they play that higher line, we might get in behind them. But at this moment in time, I don't see us getting a result out of Villa. And going into January, Spurs, it's Spurs, innit? So, I mean, who knows? Spurs are like us, aren't they? Up and down like a yo-yo. But you would think Spurs might have a couple of players back by then and will be able to do one over on us. I mean, the question is, over the next month, come the end of the January transfer window, do you think Ten Hag will still be in a job? That's the question for you to put in the comments if you listen this long into the video. Do you think Ten Hag will still be in a job at the end of January? Personally, I think yes. Current performance-wise, if we were 3 to 6 years back and we hadn't changed manager a load of times, I think he'd be gone in January. I can't see him sacking him in January when we're mid takeover. We've got no money and we've got no one to replace him. So on that, let me know your thoughts on all those things, and I will see you on the next one whenever it is. And peace out.